Hello, my name is Corey Schmidbauer, and I'm an instructional designer on the Learn at UW-Madison team in the Division of Information Technology, Academic Technology at UW-Madison. I have been working closely with campus partners in the Office of Human Resources, Learning and Talent Development on creating a professional development opportunity to recognize and address hostile and/or intimidating behavior around the UW-Madison community.
A learner sits in a wheelchair.
Today, I'd like to provide a behind-the-scenes look at designing and developing this interactive asynchronous e-learning program. This talk will cover 4 major themes: instructional design models, learning theory and educational psychology, the technology, and accessibility and user experience.
Radial diagram of 5 circles.
The main ID model that is most commonly used in this field is called ADDIE, which stands for Analyze, Design, Develop, Implement, and Evaluate. This is a 5-phase iterative process for any instructional design project, and each phase can consist of multiple elements. As you can see from the diagram, the 4 phases, Analyze, Design, Develop, and Implement, encompass the 5th phase, Evaluate, in a cyclical process. This is because the evaluation phase is not performed only after a project is implemented. Rather, the project should be evaluated and tested throughout each phase prior to its launch.
6-circle diagram.
Now, the ADDIE model is quite generic, so I'd like to introduce a more specific model that is relevant to any project that uses instructional technology. The ASSURE model is a subset of ADDIE, so you'll see some similarities. ASSURE stands for Analyze Learners, State Objectives, Select Methods, Media, and Materials, Utilize Media, Require Learner Participation, and Evaluate and Revise. I will refer to these concepts in more detail throughout the presentation. Let's begin with the first phase of analyzing our learners. So who are our users and participants? They are all UW-Madison employees, including university staff, academic staff, faculty, graduate students, and postdocs. Our learners are adults of varying ages, races, ethnicities, and backgrounds, and who have varying schedules and work in different locations both on and off campus. They also have different priorities outside the workplace and could be parents or caretakers, work a second job, or participate in extracurricular activities. The point is that we need to consider how to approach presenting content to such a diverse group of learners.
Pyramid of Bloom's taxonomy.
As members of higher education using instructional technology in various capacities, you might be familiar with Bloom's taxonomy and the term pedagogy. They are both very relevant to this topic and have been used throughout the design and development of this e-learning program. In particular, I applied 2 pedagogical concepts that were presented by Vygotsky by chunking and scaffolding the program into 4 parts that build upon each other. Chunking and scaffolding are also good practices in general to reduce the cognitive load of learners receiving information. But I'd also like to discuss 2 theories that are more impactful to this program and that you may not be as familiar with.
4 icons of principles.
The first learning theory is Malcolm Knoll's 4 principles of andragogy. Andragogy is a theory of adult learning which keeps in mind adult experiences and needs with respect to individual learning. So Knoll's 4 principles outlines these concepts by acknowledging that adults want to be involved in their learning. Adults' previous experiences, including mistakes, provides the basis for learning. Adults are most interested in learning topics that are relevant and impactful to their lives. And adults want learning to be problem-centered rather than content-oriented. Let's look at how these principles are incorporated into the e-learning program.
Slide labeled Pause and Reflect.
In this first example, I have a screenshot of a reflection activity within Articulate Storyline that asks learners to identify one example or situation of workplace behavior that could be hostile and/or intimidating behavior. Learners are asked to type their response in the text box within the program, or to write their response on a piece of paper outside of the program. It's their choice, and they are informed that no responses will be collected or shared. This activity meets the principle of adult learners being involved in their learning because learners can tailor their individual response. This activity also recognizes the different backgrounds and knowledge levels of learners and allows them to safely participate however they choose based on their experiences.
Scenario new team supervisor.
In this second example, I have a screenshot of a scenario in the program. From Articulate Storyline, I selected a black male character, Edwin, wearing a red collared shirt with white horizontal stripes. He has a thoughtful expression. And to the right, there is a picture of a laptop with silhouettes of people connected by internet bands. For this scenario, Edwin narrates his experience of becoming a new team supervisor and describes his team's behavior towards him. Then, learners will determine whether this scenario consists of hostile and/or intimidating behavior. Based on the selection, learners will be provided with appropriate feedback. Learners might be a supervisor like Edwin, or they could be a team member reporting to a new supervisor. This example meets the principles around a problem-centered situation, as well as relevance to life experiences, particularly in the workplace. This activity is task-oriented with a practical application and allows learners to discover concepts and knowledge for themselves.
6 hex tiles with icons.
The second learning theory I'd like to briefly present is D. Fink's 6 types of significant learning. This is also referred to as Fink's taxonomy, and you might see some similarities to Bloom's taxonomy with the foundational knowledge, application, and integration types. While Bloom presents a hierarchy of learning that results in a tactile product, Fink presents a non-hierarchical integration of human-centered learning with the learning how to learn, caring, and human dimension types.
Ways witnesses can provide support.
In particular, caring and human dimension are achieved throughout the program by the use of characters, such as Edwin and Vicky, who we have here. She is of Asian descent with shoulder-length black hair and wears a 3/4 sleeved blue collared button-up shirt with black slack pants and black slip-on shoes. Her hands are folded in front of her, and she has a warm yet neutral expression. These 2 types are also represented in the many pictures of people incorporated throughout the program. These are just 4 examples of depicting different interactions between people in preparation for another activity for learning about ways witnesses to concerning behavior can provide support.
Assure model revisited.
Let's review our objective: to create an interactive, asynchronous e-learning program. Based on this objective, we need to select and utilize the methods, media, and materials that will allow our learners to access and complete the program by themselves on their own schedule. Additionally, as indicated by the examples already provided, we need to identify technology that allows opportunities for our learners to actively participate in the program by making selections, learning about character case studies, and typing reflections.
Text, the technology.
The list of media and materials include Canvas Learning Management System to host content and frame the narrative of the program, including instructions on how to access the content and information on how to receive tech support, as well as submit questions about the program. Articulate Storyline 360 to develop the bulk of the content with icons, images, characters, animations, and audio. This is then exported using SCORM and embedded within Canvas. Audio files from voice talent hired to perform the roles of narrator, characters, and vignettes. Images and icons. Camtasia to compile voice talent, background music, images, and drone footage to create an introduction video and vignettes. Kaltura Media to host the videos created in Camtasia so they can be embedded within Canvas. A script that reflects what the narrator will say verbatim, including how learners will use the tools and technology. This script is then used to finalize transcripts and closed captions. And Microsoft Word and Adobe Acrobat to format transcripts and other supplemental handouts into Word or PDF documents that are attached in Canvas.
Icons of text systems.
Finally, last but certainly not least, accessibility and user experience practices. I've already introduced some user experience practices around what forms the content can take, as well as how it is presented based on our audience and best learning practices. But there is also the experience the user has when using technology to navigate through the program. My goal in designing and developing programs is to ensure that all learners can participate in the way they choose, whether they have disabilities or not. To achieve this, I do need to be aware of the different methods to meet the needs of diverse learners. There are 3 impairments I'd like to highlight and discuss how persons with disabilities can fully participate in the program. These are mobility impaired, visually impaired, and hearing impaired.
Upper mobility impairments.
For upper mobility impairments, Articulate Storyline 360 allows designers to set triggers so a keyboard can be used to navigate through the program. For instance, clicking the left and right arrows will allow users to move forward and backward, and clicking the Escape button will allow users to leave and close the program.
Visual impairments.
For visually impaired users, including those who are blind and have low vision, the program is narrated, and content is also formatted so that a screen reader can be used to aid in a good experience. For instance, all images have alt tag descriptions, and all textual content is formatted with appropriate heading structures to aid in navigation. Articulate Storyline 360 also has a feature called Focus Order, where designers can arrange all items on a slide in the order they appear, as well as provide descriptions.
Hearing impairments.
For users with hearing impairments, audio-visual media hosted in Kaltura has closed captions and transcripts. Articulate Storyline 360 also has a transcript feature, and all transcripts are edited for consistency and accuracy. There is also a text-only, non-interactive version of the program that will be available in a PDF document.
Individual perspective.
Other accessibility and user experience practices include using strong color contrast, ensuring that text font style and size meet web design standards, providing descriptive expectations such as explicit instructional language around actions we want participants to take, a table of contents, and the option to complete the program on mobile devices.
Logo, UW.
We've come to the end of our talk, so I'd like to thank our project sponsors, the Office of the Provost, Faculty and Staff Affairs, and the Office of Human Resources, Learning and Talent Development. I'd like to give special thanks to Tammy Klumpian and Stephen Catania for their subject matter expertise and all the conversations around how to best represent scenarios and interactions. And finally, I'd like to thank the multiple peer review groups who took the time to evaluate the program and provide feedback.
Schmidtbauer at wisconsin.edu.
And I'd like to thank all of you for joining me today. I know this was a whirlwind of information, and I barely touched the surface of these 4 themes. I look forward to continuing the conversation around instructional design, technology, and learning practices. Thank you.